Hey friends, Peggy Hall here from the healthyamerican.org, and it is the Healthy American Morning. And I'm so glad that you are here with me this morning. It is Monday and it is November 15th. And yes, you can see that I am in a different location. I'm out of town for a couple of days. My voice is a little rough. I have been teaching for hours and hours. I don't even know if I am streaming. Let's see. I'm just spinning and spinning and spinning. Are you able to see me? I'm going to check on my phone to see if everything is up and running. It was fine yesterday. And let me see if this is actually streaming. I'm going to check on YouTube. I don't think I am. Let me do I am streaming. There I am. And there you are. It's so great to see you this morning. We are going to be talking about patience with people. Yes, this week as we head into the holidays next week, and I hope you're going to be joining me for the holidays next week for Thanksgiving, the second annual Healthy American Thanksgiving. I will show you exactly where that is over at the healthyamerican.org. And I want to help you improve your family and friend relationships. I know it can be a little bit rocky, and let me know in a comment below if you have had any friendships or family ships that have sailed because of everything that we've been going through and all of the difference in opinion. Let me share my screen very quickly. I've also got a quick message from the sponsor of this video, but first let me take you right on over to the healthyamerican.org. A quick reminder that in the morning, we leave all of that politics and religious exemption. We leave all that aside. Join me at 3 p.m. this afternoon, and we will dive into these lawsuits. And I'm going to tell you all of the good news about OSHA. I have a couple of videos about OSHA that I hope you'll watch on my religious exemption playlist. But for today, let's take a look at events. You're going to hop over to events, and under events, you are going to see what we are doing for Thanksgiving, the second annual Healthy American Thanksgiving Feast. Yes, it is on Thanksgiving Day. It is in North San Diego County. You get all of the details when you sign up. The tickets are limited. We hope that you're going to join us. And it is family-friendly, food, fun, festivities, fellowship, and freedom, and also some entertainment. So please join us for that. All right, friends, it is the Healthy American Morning, and I am here to help you kick your morning off on the right foot. We are going to be talking about relationships this week. Let me know in a comment below if you have noticed that around the holiday season, and by holiday season, I kind of, I'm starting with Thanksgiving, and then there's Christmas, and then there's New Year's. And I know that some of you don't celebrate holidays at all, and some of you celebrate other holidays. And I've noticed that as we sail into this season, that some of the relationships can get more heart-wrenching, and we may feel the loss of those that are no longer with us more acutely. And we may wish to repair some of the relationships with those that are a little bit rocky right now. So my message for you today comes from my own personal experience, and that is to develop and apply patience with people. Oh my goodness, how hard is that? Let me know in a comment below if that's something you have mastered. I am still working on it, and it is a work in progress. And I will just throw out a simple prayer saying, help me, Lord, help me grow, help them grow, Lord, help them grow. Help me with this relationship. I pray for these people, and I ask you to open their eyes. Well, actually, I can't ask God to do anything because he alone is sovereign, but I pray in advance for gratitude of him opening their eyes, because I know that as soon as someone turns to the light of truth, they can be flooded with the light of God's truth, and that heals everything. So I want to give you a couple of examples of things that have happened to me this past year. So I've had lifetime friends, as many of you have had, and there are two in particular, my oldest friends that I've known, like one I've known since the age of 5. We went to kindergarten together, and she asked me point blank whether I was going to do this or not. And I told her point blank, no, I'm not. And I wasn't proselytizing. It's astonishing to me in the first place that we can have had a friendship for that long, and she has no idea what I'm doing. It's like, you have no idea what I'm doing. You've never been on the website. You don't. So that right there was like, maybe our friendship isn't really that balanced if she's not even aware of what I'm doing. But She's got her own life, what have you. I wasn't volunteering anything. When people ask me what I do, I say that I counsel individuals. I provide hope and healing, and I'm a positive encourager. That's what I say, what I'm doing. You let me know how you would define what I'm doing, and how about what you're doing. So I am just here to spread the light of God's truth and to encourage others to open their hearts and receive that floodlight of his love and light. And it's a better way to go through life, in my view. So anyway, that one friend that, we always would exchange birthday cards and Christmas cards and that kind of thing, it just pretty much dried up. And that's fine. We're on a different path. We live in completely different areas. Our lifestyles are completely different. But we had that connection of the childhood. And it's so nice when someone actually knew your family, and there's a comfort in having longtime friends. But it wasn't someone that I visited all the time, and actually I hadn't seen her in 15, 20 years. But there was the email connection, the texting, the sharing of photos, and all of that. So that's fine. She's on another path. I'm not going to berate her. I'm not going to send her nasty emails. I'm not going to say, what are you doing? She's living her life. I'm living my life. And that's kind of for now. And you see, I'm not like writing her off forever. It's like, for now, that's just not a relationship that I'm actively participating in. And that's okay. Then there's another girlfriend, also just kind of fell off the map and not responding to my texts. And I know that her views are completely 180 degrees round from mine in terms of all of the current events. I'll just use that phrase in our life. And her view is completely different. She thinks that I'm selfish and I'm killing people with my words. And, how could I be so, well, I guess selfish is the word that comes to mind. She thinks that I'm doing this because it's an inconvenience. Like, I don't want to be inconvenienced. It's like, no, I actually want to honor God. I don't want to serve evil. And it's so strange to me because she's a very religious person. And maybe that's really interesting because, well, I don't want to get into all the church stuff right now, but what her church is teaching and that doctrine is very much that you're supposed to do this, you're supposed to do everything, because you're sacrificing for others. Well, if it actually worked, maybe I'd be swayed a little bit that way. It's like, but on the other hand, why would I be doing that if it's harming me? God does not ask us to harm ourselves or harm our soul or to consort with deception and evil. So I pray for her still. Now, she has some grown children that I also know. And one of the grown daughters, and I actually were quite close. And she would seek out counsel from me. For many years, I did health and wellness consulting, and I still do. I did a lot of health coaching. We did women's retreats. I help people with their emotional wellness, elevating their physical well-being, their emotional well-being, their mental well-being, their spiritual well-being. So an overall holistic oneness of treating yourself and your soul with utmost care. I would just summarize it that way. So this young lady would often text me, and she would watch my videos and follow my programs and enroll in my online courses. And so we had developed quite a relationship, and I still am very fond of her. And when all of this happened, we were on Facebook and, emailing and posting and all of that. And it was very clear that we were of different minds, and that's fine. And we always maintained a cordial relationship. There was no name calling. There was no, I'm never talking to you again. It was more of a questioning. And it's like, well, here's how I see things. But after a while, I think people started blocking me and I didn't hear from them, and that's fine. But here's what's interesting. After several months, she contacted me again and she said, Peggy, I need your help because and she's got two little kids. At that time, they were like 3 and 5, something like that. And she said, my mother-in-law wants me to suffocate my children, and I don't want to do that. And I was like, wow, here, the person that thought this was like the bee's knees and everybody had to do it. And she was trying to convince me because she had immune issues why I should do this for her. And she could never answer the question, well, if you're wearing one, why do I have to? She could never answer that question. And I wanted a sincere answer. If you have an answer for me, I would entertain the answer. And I finally ended up saying to her, well, if you want me to do that as well, why don't you take mine? I never had a mine. I never had one, never used one, none of that. Why don't you take mine and put that on, and now you'll have 2. And it's even better because it's closer to your mouth. Well, she didn't think that was very funny. And anyway, After several months, she came around. After several months, she came around and said, Peggy, I need your help. And I want to find out about these studies and information because I'm being pressured by my mother-in-law to suffocate my kids. And so I helped her. Now, imagine if I had cut off that relationship, if she had come back around and I had said, I'm not going to help you. You were the one that went around along with all this hogwash in the beginning. I didn't do that. I didn't say that. Was I tempted? Oh, yes, I was tempted. But I didn't, because in accordance with my message today, it's very important to have patience with people. I do not tolerate cruelty. I do not tolerate animal cruelty. I do not tolerate child abuse. I do not tolerate cheating, deception. I personally don't tolerate that in my life. But in this case, where somebody has a difference of opinion and they are just living their life and doing their thing, what control or influence or impact do I have? I don't have any. So there was one example of just being patient, of not, blocking her or unfollowing her or sending a nasty note saying, I'm never going to talk to you again. I just let it ride. I have no influence in that position. I have no control in that position. So I can pray and I can be patient. Maybe that's what I should have titled this today. Patience and prayers with people. I think that's a better title. Let me know what you think about in a comment below. And I also have another situation. Cousins, very close cousins, very long-term, lifelong close cousins that when all of this started, locked themselves in the house, literally would not go outside, saying to me, I could not live with myself if I killed someone. And I said, how could you kill someone? Well, I might be sick and I don't know it. I might breathe on them. I could never live with myself if that happened. What are you going to say to someone like that? Other than, I hope you have a lot of puzzles and games to keep yourself entertained at home. But the interesting thing is, and I love this cousin and I pray for this cousin. And the other cousins, there are cousins along with that whole group. A couple of them kept working. And this one in particular didn't work anyway. So staying home, it wasn't really that much of a sacrifice. But the demonic deception that's going on in our society is that now somehow this individual is now elevated to like a first responder, like she's saving lives. She's saving lives by staying home. And if she ever goes out and she puts on the scam, now she's like, on par with a surgeon wearing a surgical mask. Like, oh, I just got out of surgery. It gives them a purpose in their life that they didn't have before. That's what it looks like to me. And that they've glommed onto it so strongly that this is now their identity. Also, there are many individuals, and we need to really have compassion for them, that their lives were so empty. And I'm not saying this of my cousins and friends, but there are those whose lives, and maybe it is, but there are those whose lives are so empty that this scenario, this hogwash, gives their life meaning. And now they're a part of something. And they want to get tested and they want to get the results and they want to tell everybody that they had it and then they recovered from it. Like, I'm a survivor. It's like, that to me is the saddest of all. That's where they're putting their time and energy into life. Like, why would I ever even be tested? It doesn't even make sense to me. Why would I do that? If I'm sick, I'll know it. And who cares what it is? It's not like they do anything. I have not been sick in like over 20 years. I don't get sick. And if I do, it's really mild and short-lived. And I just don't even remember the last time that I got sick. I do lose my voice from time to time, just from talking so much. My voice gets a little rough. I did have laryngitis a couple of years ago. But that's not being sick. You know what I mean? That's not like an illness. And then I also had my detached retina, which was a condition, but it's not like it's an illness. So I don't get sick and go to bed and have the chicken soup and take all the zinc and all that. It's just not in my constitution. I just don't do that. I just don't comply with getting sick. I just don't do it. But then there are people who will say, well, it's, you know what? I always get sick around the holidays. I guess it's time for my winter cold. Like they anticipate it. What do you think? Do you think they actually manifest that? There's so much about the body and the mind working together, but I'm just not in that realm. I just don't participate in that realm of sickness and all. It's just not a thing that I do. I just don't, that's not how I live life. I live life focused on different things. Oh my gosh, my sister is exactly the same. I cannot even remember the last time either of us was sick. And if we were, it's very short-lived, it's very mild, and we just soldier on. So this idea of being wrapped up and involved in this culture of sickness is so foreign to me. But when I think about my cousin and I think about my other friend and I think about this young lady, you know, when I think about it, their whole life was like that. They always had something going on. They were always going to the doctor. They had some kind of stomach upset. They had some sort of out. And I'm not saying they don't, but this is their life. Their life revolves around going to the doctor and getting diagnoses and getting treatments and having some other kind of thing. And it's strange. Like I've never known a person that has had so many slips and falls and broken arms and doctor visits. Do you know someone like that? So when all of this hogwash came along, it was like fit them like a glove. They could just marinate in the culture of illness and disease and being a part of the thrill of it all. That's my interpretation. Yours might be different. Maybe I'm seeing it all wrong. I can only see what I see. But the point of today's broadcast is I've been patient with these individuals. I don't write them off. Now, I haven't seen them for, going on 2 years, which is how they like it. And in fact, for this holiday that they're getting ready for their holiday feast and all of that. And I have a couple of other cousins and they're like, oh yeah, you can, we'd love to have you, just bring your test results. And we're like, what in the world? What in the world are you talking about? What in the world are you talking about? If you've already been protected, why do you care about me? If you already have your raincoat on and you're not getting wet, why do I have to wear mine? I did a whole video called Biden wants you to wear a raincoat so other people don't get wet. I highly recommend it. It's a little bit snarky. And then if you like snark, I want you to watch my video called What I'm Willing to Do for You. That was like several months ago, but I want you to watch it. People thought it was very funny. What I'm willing to do for you. It's kind of strange. So, but the fact is we're still talking. We talk on the phone and we talk about other things. And I pray for these cousins. And one of them had a very, very severe reaction to the needle. And there's that denial and that disconnection of they're not even putting the two together. So we don't have control over what other people do. What we can do is we can pray and we can be patient. And trust me, I know for me, it's so tough to be patient because I want results. I want changes. I want people to see things the way that I do. But the fact is they're on their own journey. So I am not cutting someone out of my life. I am going to be there. Oh, the story with the young lady that contacted me and she came around. She came around and she actually asked me for help. And that may be the case with these cousins down the road. So for the time being, I'm not seeing them, but I'm not berating them. I'm not sending them articles. I'm not sending them links. I'm not saying, what are you doing? It's not up to me to do that. The information is out there. And as you know, I don't even talk about the science, the medicine. That's not what I focus on. And here's why. Even if there was a magic needle that allowed you to live to be 120 years old, there is still no authority that can require you to do it. The discussion of the science and the medicine and all of that, to me, is so far secondary away from my rights and my ability to choose for myself. I don't even give it the thought of day. And all of you wonderful, healthy Americans that are sending me all of these links, I just delete them because, and I thank you for that you're up to date on them, but it's not interesting for me. I actually don't care. I actually don't use any of that in my decision-making for myself because it's my choice and I'm not in that realm. I'm not in the realm of sickness. I don't live in that culture. I don't participate in any of that. I never did any of these. That's just not how I live. I had all the childhood diseases. I just don't live in that realm. I have so much more going on in my life that I'm not going to, that's not the river I'm going to go down. I'm just not going to do it. So for me, I want to live with integrity. I want to choose what's right for my body. And yes, if the time comes and there's something that I need to make a choice on, at that point, I'll research and look and educate myself on it. I'm not ignorant of what's going on. How you can't be. It's all out there, which is why it's not up to me to educate others on that. The information is there. They're either going to open their eyes or they're going to stay blind. It's not up to me to do so. They have to take responsibility for their life. You learned about it. You researched it. So can they. So my goal, what I'm doing with my loved ones, is I'm practicing patience. I'm practicing prayer. I'm letting them be who they are. Now, I'm not in the situation where I have any close family members or a spouse who is of a different mind, although I shouldn't say that. There is someone a little bit closer in the line of relatives. But there are those that I know that have very close family members, like siblings who are not of like minds, spouses who are not of like minds. And that's up to you to decide. That's up to you to decide. Pastor David and I have counseled so many people that are struggling in this area. And there have been those that have actually, their relationship is no longer. They decided to part ways. Oh my gosh, how many, the stories that really trouble me are the parents of young children who are divorced. I am absolutely astounded at the number of situations I've heard. Young children, parents with young children who either never got married, and so they're trying to figure out who has the decision making over these children, whether to keep them in school, whether to keep their bodies pure or what, and then the ones that are divorced. And it's so sad for me because I have no impact in that area whatsoever. These are legal matters that have to be disputes that have to be settled in court. They're coming to me saying, Peggy, what do I do? The child's father or mother wants to keep him in school, wants to do these medical stuff on them, and I don't. What can I do? It's like you can't do anything other than get a court order. How sad. Why is that? I know I'm of a different generation, but my parents were married for 50 years until one of them passed away. My husband's parents were married for 63 years. We've been married for 25 years. I am, again, just like I'm not in the realm of the sickness culture, I'm just not in the realm of the divorce culture. My heart breaks for these situations. What is going on? Being divorced when you have kids that are like 3 and 4 years old? I'm actually speechless. I'm speechless. I know the horse has already left the barn, but shouldn't all of that have been figured out before you had children? Okay, that's a topic for another day, but we are talking about relationships, and maybe those relationships can be redeemed. So I'm all about reconciliation. I'm all about, maybe those parents could remarry and get some counseling and get help and guidance for raising their children together. I don't have all the answers, friends, but God does. And I want you to pray. I'd like to look at our comments here because I'm very curious to see what your thoughts are. So let me grab, and thank you, everybody. If you're getting value from this broadcast, would you take a moment and do me a favor? If you're on your phone, you need to minimize the chat, and then there will be a place where you can see the thumbs up. Let me share my screen really quickly, and I'll show you what it looks like on my end. So here, I'm actually on the video. You can see this is the chat over here, and this is the video, and here's the little thumbs up. So let me just do a quick refresh. My screen shows we have over 200 people. There I am. So There we go. 3 people don't like it. Yeah, those are probably my childhood friends. Oh, somebody says it's too much remarriage. She knows people that are getting divorced over the jab. Um, Let me see. I need to remove a message here. Yes, it's my stream. Isn't that nice? It's like inviting somebody to your house. I don't invite the naysayers. Not in this morning stream. Oh my gosh, Peggy, you're censoring. Yeah, I know. Isn't that horrible? Um, yes, traditional family values have been eroding for decades. Thank you, everybody, for the support. When you like the video, it shows up in the stream of others. All right. Let's see. Oh, I love this. Thank you. One of our Healthy Americans here, So4J TV, 1 Thessalonians 5. Now, you know, that's so interesting that you use that Bible verse, because when all of this hogwash started, that's exactly where my mind went. And if everybody would read that, 1 Thessalonians 5, that whole verse is about what's going on right now. Then when the world is saying peace and safety, that's when the thief comes in the night, and that's when we are the evil one wants to pull us away from God's truth. And it finishes up by saying, we urge you, brethren, admonish the unruly, encourage the faint-hearted, help the weak, be patient with everyone. And we've heard that expression, patience is a virtue. I want to say that patience is an action. I think part of the reason it's hard for us to be patient, I'll just speak for myself, is because I feel like I'm not doing anything. How many of you are a person of action? Like, you like to do things, right? I think that's why you're here on the show. I like to do things. I don't even think of it as work. I work all day, every day, day in, day out, but it's not really work. It's just my life. I've dedicated my life to shining the light of God's truth in all of these areas. And when I'm called to be patient, I feel like I'm not doing anything, like I'm sitting and just twiddling my thumbs. When you think about it, patience is an action. You're actually doing something. You're actually waiting. You're actually being patient. You're acknowledging, you're looking, you're observing. So for me, when I remind myself that patience is actually an action, it helps me feel that I'm not wasting time and that I'm not just not doing anything. I'm actually doing the action of patience. So that helps me as well. And you help encourage me as well. I know we drifted today into the land of hogwash, but it's so appropriate when we're talking about our loved ones. And I am in constant prayer. And the prayer, let me know in a comment below how prayer helps you. Prayer helps me because it focuses my mind. It helps me take time out of the, daily hubbub. And I even will pray in the midst of the daily hubbub. It helps me be connected to God. And I thank God for calling us to pray. Not that I'm, praying for, somebody used the phrase, the cosmic, God's not a cosmic vending machine. And I'm not praying to the genie for 3 wishes. Not at all. I am praying my connection to God. I'm praying to receive guidance, that I will be open and receptive and discerning of that. So my prayer life, as everyone's is very private. It's very individual. It's very unique. And it helps me be connected to God. It helps me feel that power of prayer, regardless of the results. So I hope this has been helpful, friends. My bottom line is to please be patient with those that are not seeing things the way that you are, even if it's your employer who is persecuting you. Prayer is powerful. Let your employer know that you're praying for them, especially in their decision making. Join me today at 3 p.m. Pacific. We're going to roll up our sleeves. We're going to be talking about the OSHA ruling. I already did a couple of videos on OSHA last week. So if you'd like to watch those, they will give you a nice prelude to what we're going to talk about today. And I am here Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. Pacific, the Healthy American Morning. I'm in a different area today, a little different background, and I will be back with you tomorrow. We are going to be continuing to talk about healing these broken relationships. So today is all about be patient with them. They may come around, and it's really not up to you to change them. I know we want to change them. Our heart cries for them, and that's where our prayer comes in along with the patients. I'll be taking a look at all of the comments in the stream. Thank you to the moderators for being here this morning. Thank you to all of you. I've said it before, I'll say it again. The healthy Americans here in my audience, you are smart, you're savvy, you're supportive. I love having you be a part of our encouragement community. In the meantime, I'd love for you to be a part of our Thanksgiving feast. So go on over to put in the healthyamerican.org, click on events, sign up. The tickets are limited. You are going to love it. We are going to love seeing